Welcome to Contemporary Retirement. Contemporary Retirement is a public interest program focused on the retirement community. Every program has segments on legal, financial, and health issues affecting the retirement community. Contemporary Retirement is sponsored in part by a major grant from the Family Heritage Trust Company.
Contemporary Retirement is sponsored by Family Heritage Trust Company. The Family Heritage Trust Company is an independent bank chartered trust company established by local professionals to provide fiduciary services including fee-based investment advice, trust services, retirement planning, and tax planning. The Family Heritage Trust Company is committed to client service in our communities. For more information, call the Family Heritage Trust Company at 301-631-5900.
Contemporary Retirement is sponsored in part by a grant from R. Thomas Murphy & Associates, P.C. R. Thomas Murphy & Associates is one of Franklin County's leading law firms, emphasizing estate, trust, elder law, and medical assistance planning.
Welcome to the Is It Legal feature on Contemporary Retirement. Is It Legal focuses on the legal issues affecting the retirement community. With me today is Tom Murphy from the R. Thomas Murphy Law Firm with offices in Waynesboro, Chambersburg, and McConnellsburg. Welcome to the show, Tom.
Good morning, Mike.
Tom, as we talk to clients, when you say elder law, the first thought that people have is that we are estate planners.
Certainly, and that's a big part of what we're doing because everybody should be doing that planning and getting their documents in order, and so that's a huge component.
But on the other hand, elder law is also much more focused on lifetime planning as opposed to death planning, because oftentimes the death planning in a classic family situation, not very difficult, all to my spouse and then to my children. But that does not address nursing homes and long-term care costs.
Well, exactly, and so back in the day, people were much more concerned about taxes, and it affected a greater portion of the population. Now the great cost and the threats to families' finances are nursing homes and long-term care, so that's where we spend a lot of time assuring people and laying out planning opportunities.
So as you look at a cost factor here, in Maryland, where there is no inheritance tax between husband and wife, there is no inheritance tax between parents and children. The current Maryland estate tax exemption is $4 million, which with proper planning can be $8 million pretty easily, and will be going to dramatically higher in the next few years. The vast majority of clients that come through our doors, taxes are really just not a consideration. Pennsylvania does have a slightly different deal. Tell us a little about that.
Well, in their wisdom, they impose zero tax between spouses, but a 4.5% for children, a 12% tax between siblings, and 15% on everybody else. So it is a factor that needs to be addressed, but it's not going to wipe out an estate.
Yet on the other hand, when I started practicing back in 1976, you had a $60,000 federal estate tax exemption and a 50% marital deduction, which actually meant a great deal of estates were not only staring into the crosshairs of potential long-term care costs, almost everybody middle class and up had to deal with tax issues as well.
Well, exactly, and so that meant that you had to do all kinds of exotic planning and documents. But since then, they've simplified it and raised the amounts that can pass on free of tax.
So estate planners, and there's still legitimate uses for them in terms of taxes, but you have to have a truckload of money before they become terribly relevant. The estate planning that we do is more about getting the assets to the right person. If you have a farm and we have one child's a farmer, the other child's not a farmer, there's still a lot of estate planning issues on how to manage that, but it's not driven by taxes.
Right, exactly, and so everybody has unique family circumstances, disabled children, children with bad habits, or second marriages, and go through the whole litany of things, and you need to plan around that and have proper paperwork.
So estate planning is really about dealing with the interpersonal relationships today, and yet, ironically, when people come in our office, they're just absolutely fixated on taxes, and the reality is for most of them, it's just not that big a deal.
Exactly, and you hear all kinds of stuff, but that's the beauty of speaking to an expert so that you can get a straight answer on how the taxes are going to affect you personally and your potential heirs.
And one of the challenges that we have in the estate planning arena is I found that there's a number of estate planners that are almost desperate for work, and so everybody gets a trust, and as a result of which, and they sell this concept that somehow it's going to save taxes. Even when there were taxes in Maryland, it didn't save any taxes. How about Pennsylvania?
Not in Pennsylvania. They're really good at figuring out how to tax you. And worse yet, most times that's not the proper tool. And even worse is, as we deal with nursing home issues and things like that, we have to undo these things, and it can be a real problem.
And so that simple answer that everybody tells them, just get a trust, is actually, when you look at most people's biggest risk, which is long-term care costs, not taxes, in Maryland, that trust has a very high probability of interfering with your ability to qualify for government benefits, and in fact, you'll end up having to undo it. How about Pennsylvania?
It's exactly the same. And so, as you point out, the nursing home costs are a far greater threat to us states than tax, and so you got to look at the reality of what's the more important priority.
So even if you had a 4.5% inheritance tax going to your children on $1 million estate, that's $45,000. Nobody wants to pay $45,000. In Maryland, it would be zero. But in the meantime, you're looking at a $10,000 to $12,000 a month nursing home bill. It doesn't take long for the reality is that the long-term care costs are a far greater risk than any tax liability under Maryland, and the zero tax liability, the 4.5% in Pennsylvania.
Sure. Yeah, and you could easily run up a $45,000 nursing home bill in 3 months. And so that's really the driver, and you have to have the flexibility in the documentation to fix that problem.
And one of the great challenges that we have here is almost all of these amateur strategies, including going and getting one of these trusts at the hotel or so forth, are going to interfere with that. And so we have to look and say, while estate planning is important, trying to avoid probate has some legitimacies, we have to look at the biggest risk confronting people, which is long-term care costs, and we have to be able to manage that as well.
Exactly, and so that's where getting good advice for your particular circumstances is the wise way to go.
Tom, as always, thanks for taking time to appear on our program.
You're welcome.
More from Contemporary Retirement after these messages.
Few things in life are as important as family. Leave your insurance orders to us. Write Gardner. Call or visit our website to learn how we can make insurance simple and more affordable.
Every life that meets its end leaves a heart for love to mend. Sister, brother, family, friends are left to carry on. When the loss seems more than you can bear, it's nice to know that we'll be there at Double Safe Fiery Funeral Home. We care.
Call Ed Lowe to help put your mind at ease.
Welcome to a special guest feature on Contemporary Retirement. This segment focuses on various issues which are of importance to the retirement community. With me today is Sarah Hall from Washington County Free Library Community Partnerships. Welcome to the show, Sarah.
Thank you for having me.
Now, first off, free, what does free mean?
It means free. Libraries are free, open to the public. Anyone, every day. We're open 7 days a week, and we want you to come enjoy our space. And we deal in information, so we want people to come and get access to information.
Now, it used to be when you said library, it only meant one thing, books.
Right, but we are a living, breathing, changing entity. So it's not just books, it's not just banks of computers, it's so much more. We have programs of all different types, so we would love to show people that it's not just books.
All right, well, one of the great challenges, of course, is that some people with a lot of resources can set up all kinds of databases at home, have all kinds of computers and so forth, but not everybody's able to do that.
Sure, and we like to empower anyone to be able to use any sort of software. We have programs based on very basic software that you use every day, personally, professionally, Word, Office Suite, anything with Excel, PowerPoint. We want to empower anyone to be able to use those.
Now, another term for empower might be teach them how to use it.
Sure.
All right, so tell me how you might go about teaching somebody how to use Excel, for instance.
Sure, you teach the navigation, so that top bar that has all of the different tools, go through what each one means, how you might do some different functions of Excel, and what you might use it for. So if you're doing a budget, then how to best set that up.
And so it actually will allow you to create a spreadsheet. You can sort of pay attention to your budget, or you could do something more sophisticated such as business planning with it.
Absolutely.
All All right, so you made reference to Office. So there's a whole bunch of programs within Office, so you do some training with that as well?
Yes, yeah. If you want to build a resume, for example, on Word, there's specific ways that you might want to set that up, and we can help guide anyone to be able to do that.
All right, now I don't have a computer, so how can I take advantage of this?
The library has computers. We have so many computers available for anyone with a library card, and it doesn't just have to be a resident of Washington County. We have out-of-state cards as well.
But I don't know how to turn on a computer.
We will show you. We have a wonderful reference librarian staff, and they are ready for any question.
And I know they actually do training as well.
Absolutely, one-on-one training. They'll walk you through different websites. We have programs for Facebook, that kind of thing. You want to post videos, they can show you. But they can also show you how to access our own databases. We have databases of all sorts, and we want people to use them. That's why we have them.
All right, and so I know sometimes you have types of programming there as well, music, various types of literary programming.
Yep, that's a saying in the library that there's a reader for every book and a book for every reader. We hope the same is true for programs. Program for every citizen and a citizen for every program.
But for instance, you have the Fletcher Room up on the top floor. We actually have music recitals.
Absolutely. Our Noteworthy Sunday concerts, we have a lot of local and national talent that come, and it's free. We want you to come enjoy.
All right. So obviously we have some people that are sometimes challenged with the ability to read, and I know you have some programming to deal with that as well.
Sure, and we are prepared to help lifelong learners. So from the earliest ages all through life, we want to help. So we have, for example, our Early Learning Literacy Center is new for our youngest readers, and those are fun activities that are meant to help create readers that will read for the entirety of their lives.
But you also have programming for people who have vision issues as well.
Sure, yeah, we are accessible. If you call ahead for programming, we can make it work. We can do whatever it is that we need to do, and we have different resources.
How about audiobooks?
Sure. Yeah, those are so popular. We have all different types. We've got audiobooks for learning languages. We have fiction, the thrillers, mysteries, all those popular ones as well.
And what's the charge for using them?
It's free. It's free. Just bring them back, but it's free.
All right, and of course there's some databases out there that you provide sort of an opportunity for people to access those databases. If they had them at home, they'd have to pay for them.
Absolutely, and there's databases of all sorts. We have a home do-it-yourself database. If you want to tackle a project, you're not really sure where to start, that can help. We actually have the library edition of Ancestry, so if you're working on genealogy studies and you want access to a few more primary resources than you might have with the free version, come into the library and you can access that.
And then occasionally you can also access the library databases from your home.
Absolutely, and it's through our website, washcolibrary.org.
And of course that works throughout the state of Maryland as well.
Absolutely, we hope that everyone can access our information.
All right, Sarah, well, thank you for taking time to appear on our programs. You got a lot going on there.
Absolutely, thank you so much.
More from Contemporary Retirement after these messages.
Tranquility at Fredericktown Assisted Living and Memory Care provides a warm, home-like atmosphere that promotes daily life enrichment. At Tranquility, our medical director is a geriatric physician. Our professionals support and understand the various stages associated with Alzheimer's and dementia. We have on-site physical, occupational, and speech therapists, as well as around-the-clock licensed nurses. For more information, give Tranquility at Fredericktown a call today, because everyone deserves great care. Let us do the caregiving so you and your loved one can embrace life again.
Dad, there's the big one. There's the big one. Just wait.
There's the monster.
Just one more bid on hurleyauctions.com. I got it!
If you haven't visited hurleyauctions.com, you don't know what you're missing. Whether you're buying or selling, antique cars, tractors, boats, or real estate, you can do it all at hurleyauctions.com.
Get to know Dr. Carrie Hesley at Diagnostic Imaging Services.
What I find most rewarding is caring for women through our Women's Imaging Center. We have a caring staff that will ease patients through an ultrasound, bone densitometry, breast biopsy, or mammogram. Our health team is sensitive to emotions involved in women's imaging and understands that every woman is at risk for breast cancer. Providing the community with a center that is so dedicated to breast health and the imaging needs of women is something special.
DIS Women's Imaging Center, providing women with progressive care.
Welcome to Contemporary Health Scene. Contemporary Health Scene focuses on the health issues affecting the retirement community. With me today is Dr. Robert Vandre, Mission of Mercy. Welcome to the show, Dr. Vandre.
Thank you.
Tell me what Mission of Mercy is all about.
Well, Mission of Mercy's main goal is to just provide loving health care to people that can't afford it.
And one of the interesting aspects we have today is many times people will think it's people who are not employed, but in reality, the way this health delivery system works, there are people who are employed that also cannot afford medical services.
Yeah, that's right. That's a good proportion of our patients.
And that's many times a deductible of $3,000, sometimes $6,000 for a family. And so we have what is oftentimes characterized as the working poor.
Yep, yeah.
All right, so I know that you've been in the medical service business for quite a while.
That's for sure.
How long has Mission of Mercy been doing that?
Over 20 years.
All right, and so you're principally focused in Frederick and Carroll County, and I understand you do go into southern Pennsylvania as well.
Yes.
All right, in the medical service model, how have you been delivering that?
Well, they have a van, and they always set up outside of a church, and so they use some of the classrooms in the church to have patients sit, because not everybody can sit in the van. There'll be 40 patients there, and they'll put them into the van as they can treat them. But they also, if they have more health providers, they'll set up in different classrooms different kinds of services.
And then, of course, you know, you need space to interview people and triage them and so forth. And so that using the church facility oftentimes to give you some additional space, bathrooming space and all of that as well. Okay.
Yep.
Because many times it's going to be sitting there all day.
Yeah, and some of the churches actually provide lunch for the patients and for all the staff. The churches do that for free.
And so that the medical side has been going on 20 years, but then there was a recognition a few years ago that the dental model was being underserved.
Oh man, yeah. And there's just, you know, Medicare doesn't pay for dental, and there's just a whole group of patients that aren't being touched.
And so what you had there is you had a sort of a very ad hoc dental offices that involved actual compressors that you could listen to and vacuums that you could listen to. Not exactly the ideal method to deliver dental services.
No, it's not. It reminds me, I'm a retired Army dentist, and the actual dental unit we use is the same one we had when I first came into the Army, made by ADEC, and it's collapses up in this little case, and we have a compressor from Home Depot, and it makes all this noise and everything, but it kind of reminds me of the good old days.
Yeah, one context. What I'm going to do here is that I know that Mission of Mercy's embarked upon coming up with a modern transportable dental office. So let's have Director Greg pull up the pictures, and so this is where we're headed.
Yep, that's where we're headed.
So tell us about it.
Well, what it'll be is it'll be a two-chair, actually a three-chair dental clinic, and walking into it, it'll be pretty much like going into a regular dental office. Regular dental equipment, regular chair, be air conditioned. We have some of those churches that I work in that aren't air conditioned, and it'll be quiet, clean, very nice.
And so you're out raising money, and you expect this to become operational later in 2018, is that correct?
Yeah, we ordered the van, but it takes 6 months to make it. It'll come around October right now.
All right, so people will be able to go in and sit. It'll be that mini dental office, but it'll be professional, and you'll have that equipment there. And I'm sure that'll make going to a new site and setting up and operating a whole heck of a lot easier than trying to break down and set up a portable dental office.
For sure. I mean, right now it takes us an hour to set up and an hour to take it down. We could be treating patients if we didn't do that.
Looks like a full-blown dental office.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty nice, huh? So I can't wait.
So the slide comes out, and then you'll be able to have people in a totally professional environment then.
Right.
All right, and then what's the cost for a patient to come to see you in one of these places?
Oh, it's free. No cost.
And so Mission of Mercy's out raising money to get this van. It's committed to it already. And then you have a cycle of where you go and set up.
Yes, you can go on the website and find out where we're at. But I'll tell you, dental right now, we don't take appointments, and if you don't get there by like 4 in the morning, you'll be there too late.
Which is kind of scary, but it also really points out the incredible need.
We have the average right now in Brunswick. The average patient gets there around 11 o'clock the night before and waits in their car the whole night.
Wow. So what's a phone number somebody could call if they wanted to help support?
It's 301-682-5683.
Dr. Vandre, I want to thank you for taking time to appear on the program, and we thank you for your service.
Thank you.
More from Contemporary Retirement after these messages.
The Community Foundation, through its scholarship programs and through its strategic grants, has been a positive influence for change.
Last year, change in Frederick County was influenced thanks to nearly 1,800 caring donors. Everyone can help. Your influence is key.
Help us proactively focus on where we need to be investing our energy in the future.
Albright, Crumbacher, Mal, and Itel are a full-service firm that provides elder care services, including managing incoming bills, bill payment, depositing checks, balancing bank statements, and preparing, planning, and filing personal tax returns. Put your mind at ease and call us today.
Welcome to the Making Sense feature on Contemporary Retirement. Making Sense focuses on the financial issues affecting the retirement community. With me today, Stacey Crawford, President, Washington County Community Foundation. Welcome to the show, Stacey.
Thank you, Mike.
You know, we don't think of charitable giving as necessarily business, but actually a part of the support of the community requires that we're not going to look to government agencies. We're going to assist people in fulfilling their charitable goals, and it ends up being a big enterprise in order to be able to do that.
Absolutely. And at the Community Foundation, we're here to help donors with anything that they may need for their charitable goals.
We oftentimes refer to the Community Foundation as donor-driven, meaning that it's not programmatic, it's about what the donor wants.
Absolutely. We can set up funds that are donor designated. They also could be agency funds or a field of interest funds for donors who may have a specific field of interest but not a narrow specific nonprofit.
And oftentimes we'll see that, you know, for certain types of American cancer and so forth, that, you know, they're very targeted, and many times that's an effective way of doing your charitable giving. But oftentimes people have a goal to fulfill a charitable objective for which there's no agency out there to fulfill that objective.
Yes, and the Community Foundation is here to help donors, to help them identify where their support could best be used within the community for whatever their philanthropic passion might be.
And then, of course, part of what it also brings is some flexibility to the deal, because we'll sometimes have a, you know, 50, 60 years ago, polio was a big deal. You might have contributed to charity for, you know, the eradication of polio, and they've done a great job of it. So, you know, you have something called variance power. What does that mean?
It basically means that once a donor establishes a fund, if they're
charitable objective is being frustrated because it's no longer necessary.
Right, similar to my words at this point in time, that we have the ability to move or decide on another charitable objective.
And then, of course, you know, a lot of these charities evolve. You know, we see food banks that come and go. You know, food banks are really important. Nobody says they're not important. But oftentimes, you know, you might need to say, okay, this one, you know, the driver in that organization is no longer driving, but they almost always spring out of the ashes another one.
Absolutely, and that's where the donor then is able to decide where we could be, and the Community Foundation can help with that because we are on the front lines of understanding the nonprofit community and what the needs are within Washington County.
And ironically, our first major gift that we received back in 1997 came from a donor that if you would have asked him what charity to support, he would have never made the gift. He actually wanted the Community Foundation to identify the charities in need.
And we have that ability still today to have gifts that come in that are responsive in nature, that can be put in for our responsive grants, which happen each year. So that allows us with a committee to be able to determine the best need to make the best impact within the community. And
one of the ironies of this is even though it had $9,000 back in 1997, approaching $40 million today, the goal is not to accumulate money, it's still to distribute money.
Yes, we are grant makers. We want to make sure that our money is coming in, that we're investing it, and that we're protecting it for what the donor intended, but that we're giving it out and that we're helping the community in a variety of ways.
And so the money is invested. It uses the money the same way most of our donors use the money, which they don't spend more than they make, so they want their money spent like that in perpetuity, which is a long time.
Yes, it is, and that is what is able to create a legacy for that donor. When they come in, they know their money's going to be there long after their life.
And even though that sort of endowment is one of its principal objectives, we don't restrict what a donor can do. If a donor wants it spent in 1 year or 5 years, they can do that as well.
And that goes back to being donor driven. We are here to do what the donor wants to make an impact in the community. So if that means spending it out for a specific purpose, we're here to help and guide them in that.
And although the world is changing a lot in the donor environment, the tax issues and so forth, the fact is that many donors are not driven solely by tax issues. They're driven by the fact that they want to fulfill something or leave a legacy in the community.
Sure. The new tax laws and things that are happening do drive some of our donors, but a lot of our donors are driven by their heart. And it is our help and our job to make them understand all the benefits of being philanthropic in Washington County.
And you don't have to have a lot of money to get started.
No, you do not. We accept gifts of any size. Our endowments start at $5,000.
Do you have to put it all in 1 year?
You do not. You have to establish that within 5 years.
And then, of course, a lot of people want to keep their money until they don't need it anymore, which means until they die.
Yes, and that is okay, but we want to know what their philanthropic goals are. So we would like them to come and speak with us about that to make us understand that the Community Foundation is a part of their planning so that we can honor their wishes when they are not here.
Well, Stacey, congratulations on your new job. Thanks for appearing on our program.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you from Contemporary Retirement.
Remember a more carefree time? Leave your insurance worries to us. Write Gardner. Call or visit our website to learn how we can make insurance simple and more affordable.
These days, it seems like everything's online, and filling out claim forms and receiving and paying bills online isn't always easiest. That's why we at Quality First Insurance encourage you to just give us a call. Let us help.
Hi there, I'm Paul Sweeney with Quality First Insurance, and it's still just as simple. Our offices are open every weekday where you'll be able to call and speak to real, live people.
No detail was missed. I'm so glad that I turned to Quality First Insurance.
I've recommended Quality First Insurance to my friends who've been just as satisfied.
If you're not happy with what you're paying for Medigap, or more importantly, not happy with your service, give us a try. We're locally owned, and we take the time to provide you with the best. We are Quality First Insurance, and our mission is to provide quality products to quality people. Pick up the phone and give us a call today at 800-745-1411.